Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tribe Forex Power Hour. I am Marcello, and with me is Nino, a pro FX trader. How are you, Nino?
I'm great, Marcello. I just want to add that those biases that you had today was really great. We were trading them today in the trading room. And you know how sometimes in the market it's a very long, drawn-out day. But hey, those biases did come through. Great call. Appreciate those calls today.
Thanks, Nino, and I think we make a very good team. We come up with the biases here, and guys, if you didn't know it, Nino actually does a live trade room on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 a.m. Eastern time, and then again at 8 a.m. Eastern time. They usually last about 2 hours. So from 1 to 3 a.m., he'll be in the room. 1 a.m. Eastern Time to 3 a.m. Eastern Time, and then again at 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So if you haven't been a part of that and you haven't made the big pips that they actually do make in that room, you've got to get on board. I mean, serious stuff. Anyway, having said that, let's get back to it. By the way, guys, today is it's March 11th, 2014. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into how it works, and then we're going to do our daily analysis and cover some of our biases in our trade calls. So how it works. It's really simple. After 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we do our market analysis to determine what the bias is. What is our bias? It is the probability of the market or a certain currency pair moving in one direction or the other. So if we have a buy bias, there's a greater probability that price is going to have a maximum excursion, maximum favorable excursion, that is to the buy side, which means it's going to go up, okay, and vice versa for a sell. Okay, so how do we trade these biases? Let's say that I call a buy bias. There are two ways to execute these trades. Either we take a set and forget it trade. What does that mean? That means that we set our computer to take that trade. We set our either our stop or our limit orders to take a trade. We place our stop losses and our take profits, and we don't look at it again until the next day. There's another way for us to trade, and that's by day trading. We kind of alluded to it, and that's what we do in the live trade room. Okay, and this allows you to leverage for greater profits, okay, because you're getting in on smaller stop losses because you know where the market is because you're right there. Now, once we take those trades, we generally take those trades in the direction of our biases, and we hold them hopefully for much bigger profits. So having said that, let's go ahead and take a look at the markets. So let's start with the pound dollar. Okay, we're going to start with the pound dollar just because we have it up here. And I want to say something here on the pound dollar. We've had great movement on the pound. We had another sell-off day, so we had a sell reversal candle form here. We had a nice, beautiful sell-off on that day. I called a sell. We had a sell. Once again, we had another sell here on this next day. You can see price really came down and is bouncing off nicely off that 38.2 and 23.6 area that I actually brought up yesterday in the session. So we've got to bounce off those areas, and so now we're kind of sitting right on the top of the Bollinger Band here. And so what we're going to do is we're more likely than not going to call a buy here, okay? And I'm going to tell you why we're calling a buy. So if you look here on the weekly chart that I've just pulled up, you'll notice that there's this red moving average. That is our 800 moving average, and it's on the weekly. Furthermore, we also are above the 38.2. We're also above substantial support and resistance. Oops. One second, guys. Let me sort that out. Okay, we're above support and resistance as well at about 16600. So we are going to look for a buy here because we have a tremendous amount of support that we would consider for this pound dollar. Not just that, but if you look on the weekly chart here, we are also in a consolidation for the last 4 bars. So if you look at it, we've got this big long bar here followed by a sell back into the highs and the lows of that previous bar again in the next week, again on this next week. And so here we are at the bottom of this range already. And so this will most likely be a springboard that will take the pound dollar back up. Where is this 800 EMA? It's currently sitting at in its substantial support and resistance 165.79. We're currently at 166.16. So really there's about a 45 pip range there to that low, which may be tested, but we really do believe that price will move up on the day based upon our areas of support and resistance. So we have a buy on the pound dollar. We think that that is our buy. We're going to have a buy bias. Let's take a look at the euro dollar here. All right, so the euro dollar, my charts have a lot going on them right now. I know that you can see that. So I'm going to go to the daily. I think the daily will be a little bit clearer for us. Okay, so what we had is we basically have an old trend line. This is actually, I don't want to call it a defunct trend line, but it is a less relevant trend line in that it's been crossed a few times, but the market has acknowledged it as well, and it acknowledged it here as well, as it came very, very close to the lows of the euro dollar. The lows of the euro dollar on the day actually bounced right off that trend line. So what we're going to look for, and take a look at this here. What you can see here on the 4 hour, we've actually got a buy reversal candle, and we've got a lot of, to be honest with you, we have what seems to be an ambiguous, these are basically ambiguous signals. We have a sell signal here, followed by a buy signal here, followed by basically negative candles, if you will, for a buy sentiment. So they're not toward the buy, okay, and they end up in dojis, which shows a hesitation in the market. All right, but this is, which is bouncing off an area of support and resistance, that doji, that buy doji, it really does tell us, is telling of where the market very well may go. And looking back at our daily and another area of support and resistance here. And actually, this is just a little bit too much going on here. Going to get rid of some of these trend lines. We did have a channel. Looks like I'm going to have to recreate it, perhaps. Actually, looking at this daily, this is forgot about this trend line to the upside. 1, 2, 3. That's in order. $50, $200, $800. We closed above the Bollinger. I've actually got to draw in Fibonacci's here to make this a little bit clearer for us. Okay, we closed above the last Fibonacci's to the upside. Closed above the 3850, which was a very strong area of support and resistance previously. Actually falls right on the 23.6 fib area. There's actually another reason why I was considering a buy here, although we've got plenty of reasons for a sell I'm looking for here. Let me hold off on that, guys, and actually come back to the euro dollar. All right, so the dollar Swiss, for me, it seems very, very clear. I had a sell called on the dollar Swiss this last time around, and not too far off of it. We actually had a retest. We had a test of this trend line here that is actually a weekly trend line on the dollar Swiss. You can see how far it dates back, quite a bit. Okay, back to January of last year. And what we could see is we can see that, yeah, basically price is bouncing off of that trend line, retested it, and is headed downward. So we're probably going to see a retest here at 87.83. We're currently at 87.77. We're going to probably see a retest at 87.83 or 87.78. And from there, we can look for a sell on the dollar Swiss as we have tested this area of support and resistance, before support, now resistance, and we should be able to see a sell here on the dollar Swiss. So moving forward, what do we see? By the way, I did call a sell on the euro dollar previously, and we did get a sell. Very nice move on the euro dollar. Pound dollar, I also called a sell. New Zealand dollar, I said that it was going to bounce off the highs here, maybe retest this trend line, and it basically did. I said at 85.18, it actually came to 85.04, retesting this trend line and also the area of resistance above, and really came down. And we can look for a sell here until this trend line, I bet you, at about 84.30, and then potentially see some rebounding and see where the New Zealand dollar really wants to go. Okay. Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar here, we've got a want to go ahead and look at another chart on the Aussie dollar. So if you look at this Aussie dollar, we've actually got multiple trend lines here. We've actually got price crossing the 50 EMA and also the previous trend line, which is now defunct. And now we have, or I shouldn't call it defunct actually. I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's just less relevant because price has crossed through it so many times. But we did come down to this secondary support area, as you can see. Swing low here again, and basically it's bouncing off of it. So I'm looking for a buy on the Aussie dollar. I'm looking for a buy on the Aussie dollar at 89.53, so about 89.50, right where we are. I'm going to look for price to begin to move up on the Aussie dollar. All right, the euro yen. Euro yen, we consider that it is currently in a consolidation. Okay. So if it is in a consolidation, we are at the bottom of that consolidation. We could see a breakout of that consolidation, but we don't see that as of yet. And for that reason, we've got 3 bars inside. We're going to consider that price is going to buy at the bottom of this box that I've just created. And at the bottom of this box, we're looking at 142.49. We're going to look for a buy right in that vicinity. So I would dare say 142.55, just about where we are. We're going to look for a close of the day. We're going to be looking for a buy here. And we may get actually a bounce off of 142.27, so I put my stop below that. But really, the euro yen, we're looking for a buy here, inevitably, I think, till we get a breakout at some point. All right, so the dollar yen, the very same thing, guys. I've got a buy on this, and let me tell you why. We're at the bottom. We've remained, luckily so, within this flag. So this trend line, although it's been tested and price did close out, it came well back in within it. And what we're going to be looking for is maybe a sell-off at 102.79. Just on the day. Now, if we do have some good information that comes in, you can look for price to continue down, at which point we're going to have a new trend line which will begin to establish itself. And this is where the trend line is going to be, new flag, and we can see price continue to move down. So if it breaks this area it will have to also break the 50 EMA, but eventually it's going to be following and looking for support at this trend line down here, which is at 101.50. Okay, so we're at 102.92. We do think that there's enough space and potential move to the upside here on this pair to get back in within the channel, because we also, by the way, not only do we have a trend line that's here, we also have another consolidation. So we've got two bars, or really three bars, that are within each other. And about 102.81 is basically our low, our floor there. And so we're going to look for a bounce off and a move back up on this dollar yen for that reason until we get news out of Japan. Okay, so the pound yen, very same thing. We've got the 61.8 fib. We've also got the trend line, which is, it's also on a flag at 170.52. So basically at this area, you can begin to look for a buy. We've got plenty of upside here going all the way up to 173.50. So about 200 pips, 250 pips from where we are currently, about a 50 pip stop loss. I think those are good odds for me. I would look for a stop loss below the 61.8, which is that's going to be our area of support. Okay, and that is the pound yen. Oil, I'm going to look for a sell just until we get down to 98.56. Okay, so it's been a sell the entire time. And then I'm going to look for, see if support is taken at 98.56. So it's about 50 cents away. But, you know, I think that, you know, price will get down there, and thereafter we'll see where it goes. All right, and so that is pretty much the ball game. That's everything. So let me get back to this euro dollar. The euro pair is actually one of the only ones that I am not so certain about at this point. I'm looking at the euro dollar, and it's actually not my strongest signal right now. And I think previously I actually considered a buy here on the euro, but I can't see it now. Nino, you're free to chime in if you want to, if you remember why we thought about a buy potentially here.
A trend line that you had, that secondary trend line,
Yeah.
on the chart you just had up, I noticed you removed it. You had a secondary trend line.
Okay.
That prices bounced off today.
Let's see. Right. I gotcha. I did remove it. Was it here?
Right to the bottom of the sell reversal candle, buy reversal from today.
I'm sure that it
Up a little bit, bounce. Today's candle bounced right off of the trend line.
right. So I had to have had it tied to something else.
Right.
I had it tied. Oh yeah. Okay. So we had these three bars here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get it. And so that was relevant before, and that's why I took it off. It's now not as relevant. But we did have multiple bounces, and we did have a bounce off of it today. And so for that reason, we considered a buy. Also, the fact that we're above the 23.6 and the 138.50, which are areas of support. I get it now. I totally get it now. Thank you, sir. So yeah. So once again, guys, just to recap, we got a buy on the pound dollar, a buy on the euro dollar, a sell on the dollar Swiss. New Zealand, we're going to look for a sell down to support. And our support's going to be at either 84.16 and actually before that at 84.27. Aussie dollar is going to be a buy, which we can't see on this chart. You can see on this chart. This is the updated trend line. So at 89, so basically this trend line is basically at 89.50 or 89.53, and we're about to get a bounce off of that, potentially to the upside on the Aussie dollar. Okay, so that's a buy. The euro yen, we're at the bottom of a channel, the bottom of our consolidation. So we're going to be looking for a buy there. We're going to be looking for a buy on the dollar yen, which is also in a flag and consolidation flag, and also a pound yen buy, okay, which is at about 170.80 in that vicinity. Okay, so for those reasons, we're gonna look for a lot of buys in the dollar Swiss sell and New Zealand sell for the time being as well. Having said that, guys, thank you for your time. This took a little bit longer, but thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow in another edition of the Tribe Forex Power Hour. Also, guys, don't forget on Thursday now, we will have another session. We're going to have from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Nino's going to be in the trade room, and he's going to show you how to make those pips and where to get in live right there in the market so you can potentially profit with him. So 1 to 3 a.m. Eastern time, and then again at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. We look forward to seeing you there, and we'll see you back here for another edition of the Tribe Forex Power Hour. Thanks, Nino.
You're welcome.
Happy trading, guys. Bye-bye.